Like to call the meeting to order. Just a reminder, please turn off your cell phones. Appreciate that. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I just forgot what
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. I say-
Mayor Paul,
Here.
Vice Mayor Hatton.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Starkey.
Here.
Councilmember Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Lemack.
Here.
Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Holstein. Mr. Weinthal.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. The first portion of the meeting, first meeting of the month, is public comments. And we invite people to come up and speak on any topic that they wish, except if it's on the public hearing portion. You have 3 minutes to speak, and it doesn't matter how many things you talk about, if whatever you can get in that 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Tula? Just state your name and address, please.
Tula Amana, 5030 Southwest 109th Avenue, Davie 33328. Good evening, Ms. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I recently posted, as you all know probably, because it got a lot of traction in a Davie Facebook platform regarding the disposition of my 3 restaurants on Davie Road. And I asked people to comment on what they thought. The response that I received, it was nothing that what I expected. The group actually of about 31,000 people called Town of Davie, they had focused on the new and upcoming development for the Davie Road corridor based on a recent article from South Florida Business Journal, Brian Bandel, and specifically the White Oaks property. So it was this is what's interesting about it, only a very small minority focused on the traffic and too many people and all that, very small minority. Most people actually complained that they wanted to see more development in the downtown Davie and more stores. That I was very surprised, actually. They also, a lot of people acknowledged that while they lived around Davie Road before and east of Davie Road, they took the livestock and the horses and actually they went west of University, where I live near United Ranches, and they loved it up there. It was after another meeting that we had where you approved the building for Azure. The same people that yelled at me at that meeting for speaking for the development were the same ones that came back 2 years later and said, we did what you said, we're west, and we're very happy there, because our horses are all quiet and everything is wonderful. So, I live next door to a bull named Cowboy that rammed me the other day, so please forgive me, I'm a little bit sore still. So, they are complaining that we're stuck in the 90s, and the Western Manual is dated 1999, if I'm not mistaken, so probably, Mayor, you know best if you can correct me as to the date. It says that it needs to be updated to a real walkable downtown, since Town of Davie has only 2 streets, University Drive and Davie Road, north of Griffin. I will need another minute, if I may, Mayor, and I'll fit it all in. That's it?
Please try to stay to your time. Thank
Okay,
you.
so my question is, since those are the findings, when was the last time you took a survey through SurveyMonkey to get the will of the people? Because I thought that was very, very interesting findings, and they're very happy to have stores downstairs. They complained about the fact that some of these buildings do not have stores. I'm asking if you can do some kind of a survey. Thank you.
I'll turn that over to one of the members of staff to look at. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion of the meeting and we'll go on to our presentations. You have to excuse me. It's very exciting for us to be recognizing women who have made their mark in this town. And this is our very special March Shiro presentation. And I'll ask Councilmember Starkey to read the proclamation that each of us, our honorees, will be receiving.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas March is celebrated as Women's History Month in America, and whereas in 2025, the theme is Moving Forward Together, Women Educating and Inspiring Generations, the National Women's History Alliance is a leader in promoting women's history and is committed to the goals of education, empowerment, equity, and inclusion. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made a historical contribution to the growth and strength of our community and nation in countless record and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the United States. And whereas women have expanded their choice of education and career paths, and at the same time have faced the challenges of balancing career, families, and community service. And whereas today's women are creating new models for women of tomorrow, so that future generations of women will benefit from greater choices that previous generations had. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the nation, life by consulting I don't know what that was. Anyway, a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside the home. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and town council of the town of Davie do hereby proclaim that the month of March as Women History Month, signed by our mayor.
Thank you. Ariana, what order? Can I start with District 1? Sure. You're set for that? No, that's me. I wanted to, I'm sorry. I didn't want to go first. I should have told you.
There it is.
There we go. Thank you.
Tonight I am honored to recognize Deborah Debbie Herr Moore, and I invite her to come forward to the podium. Debbie, as she is affectionately known, was raised by her parents, Ron and Carol Herr, along with her younger brother, Ronnie, in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. She attended Keene University in Union, New Jersey, graduating magna cum laude in special education and psychology in 1992. In 1994, she moved to Miami, Florida to secure a teaching position, working for the ARC project, Thrive, and then Miami-Dade County Public Schools. At that time, she was an active member of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, otherwise called JC's. It was within this community service organization that she made many amazing friends and eventually met her husband, Jim Moore, whom she married in 2000. Proudly following in her dad's footsteps, she was honored to receive her JCI censorship from her home chapter, the Coconut Grove JCs. Upon finding themselves expecting in 2002, they decided that a move to Broward County would be best for their family. They searched throughout Broward, easily settling on Davie as it reminded them as a bit of Leola, her hometown in Pennsylvania. Deborah took a leave from teaching to raise her three amazing children, Sam, Alexa, and Julia. When her baby entered kindergarten in 2012, she started substitute teaching at Nova Eisenhower Elementary School in the heart of Davie, and within 6 months she was hired full-time. Today, she is a proud media specialist at Eisenhower. She considers herself fortunate to be able to combine her love of reading and teaching, hopefully inspiring the next generation of readers and leaders. She is an ardent supporter of Nova Middle School and Nova High School sports. You can catch her on the sidelines cheering on her former students. Her favorite teams to watch are the Nova High Girls Soccer, Davie Sharks Girls Soccer, and St. Thomas University Sandy Bobcat Girls Beach Volleyball team, where she passionately cheers on her daughters. Deborah Moore, we recognize you today as one of our 2025 Women History Month honorees.
You have quite a cheering squad back there. Yeah. Would you like to say a few words?
Just thank you very much for this honor. We've lived here for a very long time. My children have grown up here, and it's an amazing place to live and work and play, and we love Davie. So thank you, and thank you for everything you all do.
Bravo, congratulations. Let's take District 2 next.
Okay, District 2. Karen Fortman, would you step up to the mic, please? What? Yeah, there she is. Karen Fortman was born in Youngstown, Ohio, and moved to Tamarack in 1977. She married and moved to Davie 11 years ago. She boasts that her sister, brother, and niece are all Davie residents. Karen is an advocate, and much her advocacy began with her daughter, April, who at 15 months could not stand. April was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Moved from Ohio to Florida, Karen reached out to a woman with an adult daughter with cerebral palsy. Turns out Dr. Marilyn Mailman Siegel had created a program for youngsters with developmental delays at Nova University and agreed to meet them, referring April to the program coordinated by Dr. Dolores Hastings. During April's preschool experience, federal law was passed requiring school districts to provide services to students with disabilities. It included training for parents, which she enrolled in, and soon after became a trainer for parents. The more training she delivered, the more active she became, joining parents with their child's school staff, attending school board meetings, representing students and parents, and later speaking to the elected officials. When a position opened on the school board, she successfully ran for the seat. As chair of the Legislative Committee of the School Boards Florida Association, she advocated on behalf of issues for April and thousands of kids with disabilities.
Thank you.
1 minute, sorry.
Page 2.
As school board member, she assumed certain community... Thank you. As school board member, she assumed certain community duties, including serving as a board member of the Community Service Council, which led to coordination with disability human rights organizations. Recently, Karen and April were invited to attend a press conference with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz to advocate for the continuation of the Medicaid funding that supports critical health care. April now lives in a small group home with many of her services are supported through the federal Medicare program, and she continues to inspire and teach Karen. One important lesson is to amplify your voices to ensure that all of us are included in our community. Karen Fortman is my hero. It is my honor to select you as my 2025 Women's History Monthly honoree. Do you have any few words to say?
Well, yes.
Hi, how did I know that?
Yes, absolutely. The truth is that my friend, Councilwoman Carol Hatton, and I have been friends for over 30 years. I know, Carol. Back when
I had to do it, right?
I was an active parent, and Carol was very active with the Broward Teachers Union. And I'm proud to say that was the first endorsement that I received when I was a candidate for the school board. So it isn't just a thank you. It is with outstretched arms that entities such as the labor groups in Broward would consider to include me in their nominations, because I was just one little parent in the whole scheme of things. I also want to say to all of you, and as we continue to move along, you know, one of the things that was amazing to me when the call came last week, would I go to a press conference with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz? And I said, sure. I never say no to the Congresswoman. But the caller called back and said, the Congresswoman would like for you to bring April. So that was a special call. And it was special for April and for me, as well as the Congresswoman, because all of the people that were invited are people who expect and need and depend upon the partnership between the federal government and the state government for the Medicaid program. And so I hope that as I'm speaking to all of you, you will become our advocates throughout this room and on the day as we worry about and hope on our hopeful that we can maintain this kind of a program. Thank you. Thank you, Carol.
Now from District 3, Councilmember Starkey.
Thank you, Mayor. This year, I have the distinct honor of recognizing Gail Buning. And if she would please make her way to the podium. Gail was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Gail's life took an adventurous turn. For those of us who know her, she's told the story before. Quite interesting when her family ended up moving to El Salvador, where they ended up growing coffee. She has been a Davie resident now since May 1st of 1975. As she recalls it, it was a time when State Road 84 was only one way west, and Australian pines and melaleuca trees lined the highway, filling the air with a scent reminiscent of mashed potatoes during the season. Hiatus Road was nothing more than a pothole-farmed road. She attended the University of Miami, pursuing a degree in art and interior design, but fate had other plans. She met Donald Buning in Fort Lauderdale, and they married in 1960. Together, they raised 2 daughters in Davie and are now proud grandparents of 5 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. Gail is deeply rooted in Davie's culture and traditions. When Gail first began attending St. David's Church, services were held in a warehouse on State Road 84, reflecting Davie's early but close-knit spirit of gathering wherever there was a possible space. In 1983, Gail started a beloved holiday tradition called the Illuminarias, where every house in Davie West would line their driveways and the street glowing with white bags and candles, and that's the first Saturday before Christmas. This tradition continues to unite the community. And just this past year, I might add, they even had where they decorated golf carts and other little parade, and I was honored to have judged it. So I hope they continue that. It was a lot of fun. She loves the arts and paints holiday window displays around town, bringing joy and festivity spirits to Davie year after year. As a lifelong champion of new ideas, which we'll share one later, Gail thrives on finding creative ways to uplift her community. She is passionate about spreading the word about the incredible work of Soroptimist International of Davie. And in the audience today, we have many of our members, including myself and Carol Houghton and the mayor, that are Soroptimist sisters, which their passion was to save the old Davie School, and we thank them for that. She has been a dedicated member for 30 years and has served as program chair for the past 8. Gail's ties extend beyond town boundaries. Her family owns that coffee farm in El Salvador, blending her international roots and her deep connection to Davie. But no matter where she is in life or where it has taken her, her heart has always belonged to this town. The people who know Gail best describe her as persuasive, fun, very resourceful, or as she'd like to say, too many ideas? I can attest to the fact that she does have all 3. And I would like to congratulate Gail and ask her to say a few words, including one of those new ideas she might want to share that she and I have spoken about.
Thank you for the honor. After hearing the beautiful work of all the other people here, I don't feel worthy, but I thank you all very much anyway. Ideas. Well, I was at the Orange Blossom Festival with my children and my first stop, of course, was the Serotinus tent, and we were with the old Davie School. And there's this banner across the front, and it was all about Davie from the beginning to the end, and I'm thinking, that is really nice. Well, do you all know that in Washington, D.C., there is an embassy? It's called the Florida House. Anyone is welcome to go anytime they want to. They will give you orange juice. And they didn't even know that it was from Davie, but I told them that it was. I don't know whether it was or not, but I told them. I told them it was anyway. Anyway, I saw this banner, and I thought, I had talked to the people from the Florida House, and they didn't even know that South Florida existed. And then they're bragging about some rodeo. I said, rodeo? You want to see a rodeo? So then I proceeded to tell her about the rodeo. And she said, I didn't know any of that. So when I got back, she had mentioned that she would like to have us donate an ornament for the Christmas tree. So Susan Coyle and I got together and did the ornament with Judy Paul, sent a cover letter, and we have pictures of the girl hanging the ornament from Davie on the tree. It's the only city in South Florida that's up there. So we need to make Davie known at the Florida House. So my idea is to borrow the banner from the old Davie School, to get together with every organization in town, make sure that they have information about Davie, get some tchotchkes. I know that between Judy and Susie and Carol, they have tchotchkes that we can put out. Talk to the gentleman that took the place of the girl that I was talking to, and he's all for it. And then I mentioned, maybe we could get a saddle, and oh my God, he started shooting sparks. So it's up to you all to go from there. That's my idea.
District 4, Marlon. Anytime you're ready.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's exciting, and I think we'll really enjoy working on that project with her.
My Woman's History Month recognition for this year is Dr. Martha de la Iglesia, a Davie resident since 1999. She is not here tonight, but it was important for me to read her information to the record. Dr. de la Iglesia was born in Caracas, Venezuela, to her father, an architect of Cuban and Spanish descent, and her mother of Dominican and Belgian heritage. She moved to the United States in 1979 and completed her studies at Miami-Dade Community College, and then went on to the University of Florida, where she attended dental school. She later completed her general hospital residency at Mount Sinai Hospital in Miami Beach. In 1990, in 1989, she opened her first private practice in South Miami, where she worked as a general dentist for 11 years. And years later, she relocated with her husband, Dr. Reynald A. Gonzalez, to Davie, where they opened a second private practice together. Currently, she practices dentistry with her husband, Dr. Gonzalez, at Regency Square Dental, the dental center. They focus on sharing the latest technological advancements with their patients. She takes great pride in educating patients and providing top-tier service to the community. If you're looking for an amazing dentist, please check her practice out. Dr. Daley Iglesias is the mom to 3 children. Gabriella, a computer animation and makeup artist based in Los Angeles, California. Reyno Ignacio, an engineer and dentist who practices with them in Davie. And Adriana, who studies hospitality management and now works for a cruise line. Over the years, she's volunteered exclusively with Girl Scouts at St. Mark's Catholic Church, participated in mission trips, and helped establish an indigent dental clinic in the Dominican Republic, where they continue to serve and volunteer annually. Additionally, she organized Freedom Day at her dental practice each year, offering free services to military personnel and veterans throughout the community. She's volunteered for the Missions of Mercy organization, providing dental services across Florida, and since 2022, she's been a part of the Dental Lifeline Network, donating services to those in need within our community. She's passionate about the ocean and beaches and regularly volunteers for beach cleanups. Every year she supports an incredible organization called Cakes for Kids, which celebrates birthdays for children living in foster care. In her free time, she enjoys painting and working in her garden. I am proud to have nominated Dr. Martha E. Daley Iglesias for my 2025 Women's History Month recognition. I have had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Daley Iglesias for probably at least 25 years. My daughter is a dentist, and I give a tremendous amount of credit to Martha and Ray for talking my daughter into getting into this profession. She is a wonderful, wonderful human being, and we probably could have talked more about what she does with veterans and stuff, but I'm just honored to call her a friend, and the type of work she does for indigents and veterans in this community is just amazing. I can't say enough good things about her.
Thank you. Okay, hope I'll make through this. I'd like to bring up my first nominee, Tony Webb, also known as the Sign Lady. Tony's been a good friend of mine for so many years. She was born in Annapolis, Maryland, moved to San Gabriel, California in February 1958, and then moved to Fort Lauderdale in 1959 and got her first horse, which she boarded in Davie. And she's still riding. In 1967, she married and moved to Davie in 1969, where she has been living in her current house since December 9th, 1969. And if you have the time someday, ask her about the house. It's just such a unique story. She brought it with her. If you're trying to do the math, don't worry. I've done it for you. That's over 55 years since she's lived here. Tony is a liberal arts graduate from Florida Atlantic University. She's an art teacher, writing instructor, and sign painter, and artist. What a magnificent artist. Some of her special interests, as you can probably guess, include painting horse and animal portraits, and I have a portrait of my dog and my horse framed in my house that she did, and they're just beautiful. Sculpting portraits, riding her horses, sewing, and carpentry. Yeah, one thing you know about horsewomen, they can do everything. It's no wonder the people who know her best describe her as a horsewoman, an artist, and a very generous person. Let me share a fun story that exemplifies Tony's love for the arts. In 1967, before any of the current council served, might I add, there was a plan to demolish the Davie Arena because it was in disrepair, and there was no budget to fix it. A group of business leaders got together and established the Davie Broward Horsemen's Association to try to raise money to keep the arena. They needed advertising to sell tickets for the Orange Festival Rodeo. There was no Blossom in the name back then. Some of them knew she was an artist, so they convinced her to paint the signs. They assembled at Carl Griffin's driveway with 28 donated sheets of plywood and a few gallons of paint. Her job was to draw the letters on the boards, and members of the group would go behind her and fill them in. Since she started drawing the letters from the middle, rodeo sometimes came out as Redeo, sometimes as Dodeo. Members carried the signs all over the state from Pensacola to Key West. In the end, they held the rodeo, raised more than $40,000, and that was in 1967 dollars, and saved the arena. And that was the beginning of her sign career. By the way, her stamp on Davie also includes a painted mural that is no longer there, but it was on the west wall of Griff's Western, and we tried to find a picture of it, but couldn't find one. Always learning, she recently took classes on sculpting and created a beautiful bronze statue of a horse, and she'd love to share her talent with the town. Tony does not shy away from serving in various capacities in Davie, including the Downtown Beautification Advisory Board, which planted trees along Linear Park, the Open Space Advisory Board, which designed and did drawings for the layout of Joy Yoder Park, and the Public Art Advisory Board, where she's currently serving as the chairwoman. She also encouraged her son James, who was also a Davie resident, to serve on the Davie Advisory Board. She's an active member of the South Florida Trail Riders, and as I said before, she's still out there riding her horse whenever she can. Thank you for your endless, endless work in our community and for contributing to fostering more art in our community. We appreciate that, and it gives me such great honor to recognize you as one of my 2025 Sheroes for Women's History Month.
I feel very intimidated by being among this company and here. I don't know who that was you were describing. Did not sound like me, but maybe so. When we came from Maryland through California to Florida, we drove through Davie before we landed in Dania, and I knew this is where I had to be. I was 11, and I was determined that I was going to live in Davie. And so my horse that we got the day that we came to Florida, it lived in my backyard because the landlord's daughter had grown into boys and out of horses. So I got the horse, and we kept that horse there until we moved into a house in Fort Lauderdale. There was no place to keep him, so I boarded him in Davie, and I've been basically a resident of Davie ever since. I slept in Fort Lauderdale, but I've been a resident of Davie. And the things that inspired me about Davie are all still here. The fact that people care about each other, the fact that they care about horses, they care about the environment. Those are all the things I care about. And I'm very glad to be here, and I really appreciate this honor. Thank you so much.
My next nominee, my next Shero, is Marilisa Lawless. You come up, please. My rainbow.
Rainbow pony.
You notice the picture that I have on there? we went to an event and she got into the spirit of it, and she just sparkled and had butterflies painted on her, and she was just absolutely marvelous. It just tells you something about the personality of this woman. Marilisa is the eldest of 5 children and was born in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia. Her family moved to Florida on July 5th, 1974. She moved to Davie as an adult in 1982 and has been in her forever home since 1993. She went to South Plantation High School and then to Broward College, as it's called now. She later graduated from Florida Atlantic University with her degree in fine arts, sculpting, and photography before going on to get her master's degree in marriage and family therapy. While completing her undergrad studies, she worked for Bell Telephone, had a son, and decided to be a family therapist. That decision was based on having done her own healing in therapy and understanding how growing up in a dysfunctional home and her mom's struggles with depression impacted her life as a firstborn. Marilisa is a mother to many. She raised many kids, not her own, but still calls her mom today. She claims 4 children, her biological son, Braden, her niece, Sherry, her former stepson, Kyle, and her adopted daughter, Shanna. All are launched and living their adult lives. She has 4 grandsons from her oldest son. The 2 children in the middle have dogs, and her youngest is a stepmom to a 6-year-old boy, who she now claims as her grandson. Most people know Marilisa as a lady with the rainbow hair. Fun fact, her mom started playing with her hair at a very young age. Unsurprisingly, the nuns were not too happy when she showed up as a bleached blonde in the 2nd grade. She loves surprises, but this award, she said, and the recognition has certainly been a big surprise for her. I think we all should follow Marilisa's mantra. Life is amazing. I love the beach. I love to travel. She is a distinguished Davie businesswoman. She's ever present at all Davie events with her Hemp to Soul banner. She contributes time and energy to the Chamber of Commerce and is a standard bearer with the Davie Jazz Society. She is a psychotherapist and alternative healing practitioner. And if you go to Hemp to Soul, you wouldn't be thrilled with the amount of healing items that she has for sale, crystals, and soothing crystals. Very, very, very important to her. So I am more than thrilled to have you as one of my 2025 nominees. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's my sister, my mom, and I started these businesses together back in '91. We've been on Davie Road ever since. It's been an amazing journey. And the only thing I can say is we can't do it without community, and it's all about connections and having our tribe. And I've got some of my tribe with me today, and I'm really grateful. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been a bit of a struggle for me. And what I'd like to entertain at this point before we go down to take the group picture is I would like to ask someone to make a motion to excuse me from the rest of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to excuse the mayor for the rest of the meeting.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And we hope you feel well.
Thank
Yes,
you.
feel
So,
better.
I struggled to get here because I didn't want to miss this wonderful occasion of celebrating these wonderful women that adorn our town. They just make us shine. There are so many people that could be recognized. I wish we could do more, but I want to thank them all for being here. And at that point, we can go down and take the group picture, and then I will quietly depart as I cough my head off.
Just so you know, I asked, she said she's been on her antibiotics for a week, so That means most of the really contagious part's gone.
Yeah,
Good.
or I wouldn't have come at all.
Or she wouldn't have come. But we wish you well.
Okay. if we can. Evelyn, we're not starting from the beginning. We already did that. We're going to start right here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue, call the meeting back to order. We're going to go on to the approval of the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull? No? Good. That's good.
I believe we have to pull number 6, which is the staff is requesting to table.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
That's my next step.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The staff has requested tabling of item 13, code amendment.
Well, if we could go back. We should table number 6 first and then 13.
I'm sorry, I have that as next. I apologize.
No worries,
Mr.
no worries.
Okay, staff is requesting to table item number 6 on the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to table?
Motion to table number 6, interlocal agreement, to
Second.
March 19th.
We have a second?
Second it.
Okay, do we need a roll call? No, just
No,
a
it's a
voice
voice.
call?
Yes.
A voice vote. Everybody, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? None. Okay, now we'll go back to item 13. Get a motion on table, I need an amendment, motion to table item number 13 to April 16th, 2025.
Motion to table number 6, number 13 code amendment to April 16th.
Second.
Okay, I have motion, this one I need a table for.
This one's a roll call because it's ordinance.
Right, roll call. Got it. Thank you.
So Mayor Paul, Vice Mayor Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Anybody on town council have any item that they want to pull to be tabled, withdrawn, or added from the table? Anybody? No? No? Okay, no, nobody. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve the consent agenda as approved, as shown. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion approved, consent agenda.
Second.
Less 6 and
Yeah, 6 was already tabled.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we're
I'm
okay.
sorry.
We're okay.
Yes, so we're good.
I apologize.
We're good.
Just for the record, it's a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items 6 and 13.
and 13.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, minus item 6 only.
Right,
Okay.
and, yeah, okay. Do we need a voice vote, Madam Clerk? We have a voice vote, please? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? And passes. Okay. Okay. Minutes and resolution. Evelyn, the minutes?
That was approved.
That's
We're
under
good.
consent.
That's all on
We move
consent.
on
That
now
we
to
move
public
on.
hearing section.
Okay, state legislative section. Okay, we're going to move on to 8, is that right?
So we're at the public hearing now, item number 8.
Yeah, that's what I was going to, number 8, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me take it, sorry about that. Okay. Town attorney, please read the record, into the record.
Yes, Vice Mayor. Item number 8, variance. A resolution of the Town of Davie, Florida, taking final action on variance application V23-160 Kowalski, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
Has the quasi been waived?
No, Mayor. No, Vice Mayor.
Okay, that's okay. You're going to promote me, no. Okay, the town attorney, please proceed with the quasi judicial hearing and ask for disclosures.
Yes, Vice Mayor. I'm going to read some procedurals and housekeeping matters.
Thank you.
The applicant has requested a quasi-judicial hearing on item number 8. I will go over some housekeeping rules and procedures and the quasi-judicial process as set forth in Town of Davie Resolution 2021-183. As you can see, there is a court reporter here. She's in the back over there. I ask anyone who plans on speaking on this item to please speak clearly into the microphone and not speak over each other. This is to ensure the record properly reflects your statements. Town Council, your ruling on this matter must be based solely upon the evidence presented tonight at this hearing. When making a ruling, you must state with specificity the reasons for approval, denial, or modification of the item, and your decision must be based upon competent substantial evidence. Competent substantial evidence is evidence that has established a substantial basis from which the fact at issue can reasonably be inferred. It is evidence a reasonable mind could accept as having probative weight and adequate to support a legal conclusion. The town shall present its case first. I am using the term present its case, but town staff is not advocating for or against this item. Mr. Quigley's role is to present the facts on the matter and answer any questions you may have. My role is to rule on any evidentiary or procedural issues and advise the town council as to the applicable law and necessary factual findings. I am not advocating for or against this item. The town shall have 25 minutes to make the full presentation. Any questions and answers from council members shall not count towards the 25 minutes. The applicant shall then present its case. The applicant shall have 25 minutes to make their full presentation. Any questions and answers from council members shall not count toward the 25 minutes for the applicant. I am not aware of any party interveners in this case, but if one were to come forth, they shall have 25 minutes to make their full presentation. Any questions and answers from council members shall not count toward the 25 minutes. Any members of the public wishing to speak for or against the item or submit relevant evidence shall be allowed to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Any questions and answers from council members shall not count towards the 3 minutes. The town staff shall have 10 minutes to make final comments. The applicant shall have 10 minutes to make final comments. Any party intervener shall have 10 minutes to make final comments. At the discretion of the vice mayor, the applicant or the town may be permitted to respond to the closing statement of the party intervener. A maximum of 10 minutes is allotted. The town council will conduct open deliberations on the item. The vice mayor shall have the discretion to reopen the proceeding for additional testimony or argument by the parties if warranted. Any deliberations, a vote shall be taken to approve of conditions, continue, or deny the item. The town attorney will rule on all evidentiary and procedural issues and objections and advise the town council as to the applicable law and necessary factual findings. The town council and the town attorney may ask questions of persons presenting testimony or evidence at any time during the proceedings until commencement of deliberation. After each witness testifies, the town staff representative, the applicant's representative, and the party intervener shall be permitted to question the witness, but such cross-examination shall be limited to matters about which the witness testified and shall be limited to 10 minutes per side per witness. Members of the public are not allowed to cross-examine witnesses. All evidence of a type commonly relied upon by reasonably prudent persons in the conduct of their affairs shall be admissible, whether or not such evidence would be admissible in a court of law in Florida. Evidence that is irrelevant, immaterial, harassing, defamatory, or unduly repetitive shall be excluded. Hearsay evidence may be used for the purpose of supplementing or explaining other evidence, but it shall not be sufficient by itself to support a finding unless it would be admissible over an objection in a civil action in Florida. All evidence submitted on behalf of the town will be marked alphabetically. All evidence submitted on behalf of the applicant will be marked numerically. Statements of counsel, being myself and Mr. Israel, shall only be considered as argument and not testimony unless myself or Mr. Israel have actual knowledge of the matters which are the subject of the statements and we are sworn in. Does town council have any procedural questions? Okay. Before I turn over to the town clerk to swear the witnesses in, I ask if any town council members has any oral or written ex parte communication you wish to disclose. Such communication is not prohibited, but does need to be disclosed prior to voting on the item tonight. I will go council by council member and ask if you have any disclosures. Councilmember Whitman, District 1, do you have any disclosures?
Yes, I had discussion with our attorney on this matter.
Councilmember Starkey, do you have any disclosures?
Yes, I had conversation regarding the quasi-judicial proceedings with our town attorney, Alan Weinthal, as well as meeting with David Quigley on a presentation on the actual applicant at one point, last 2 weeks, maybe.
Vice Mayor, do you have any
Yes, I
disclosures?
had, with the town attorney.
Councilmember Lewis, do you have any disclosures?
Yes, I've spoken with the town attorney and town administrator in regards to this.
If a disclosure comes to your mind, you may disclose at any time prior to voting. I will now turn this over to the town clerk for swearing in anyone who may testify on this item tonight.
All witnesses, please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You may be seated. Vice Mayor, you may proceed with the hearing.
Okay. The proceedings shall commence now. Town staff, you have 25 minutes to present your case.
Thank you. David Quigley, Planning and Zoning Manager for the town. First, I'd like to enter the staff report dated 02/25/2025 into the record. It's the same report that's in your council item.
Attorney Israel, do you have any objection to? She'll be entered into Town of Davie Exhibit Alpha. Ariana is going to put the item on the screen. David, do you want the clicker?
Ariana's going to
Okay.
click it for me.
Okay.
Ariana, if you could pull up page 15.
And don't forget to start the clock. Thank you.
So, agenda item, in addition to your regular agenda item, we've distributed earlier today memo PZM 25-14, which includes additional material provided by the applicant. So you're looking at page number 15 of the Town of Davie evidence. The subject property is located at 1733 Southwest 148th Avenue and is part of the Vista Lakes plat that was recorded in December of 1992. Can you switch over to 14? The proposed variance would allow a walkway within the front yard that is 9 feet 5 inches at its widest point. The walkway is made up of paver stones. Per section 12-81 of the town code, the R1 district requires a 30-foot front yard, but section 12-88 exempts walkways that are up to 4 feet in width. So this variance is about the portions of the walkway that exceed 4 feet in width. The owner has an open building permit for the walkway, but it cannot be approved at this time without a variance. Be aware that the walkway in question extends from the columns that are in front of at the front property line towards the front of the house. Some of the photos that are in the backup depict pavers and other improvements that are within the right-of-way of 148th Avenue. These improvements are not part of the present variance application. The reason is that section 12-309 lists the items that are subject to a variance in the town of Davie, and things that are in the right-of-way is not among them. As usual, staff's provided an assessment of the variance criteria, which are in our code as section 12-309B1. I'll summarize the staff findings on those, and I'm paraphrasing on each criteria somewhat. Criteria A, it essentially means, is there a special circumstance or condition applying to the land or building for which the variance is sought? Staff found there's no special circumstances or conditions that justify the proposed variance. B, is the variance necessary for the reasonable use of the property? Staff finds that that's not the case, that the lot's been used for a single-family residence for many years. And C, is it in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the Land Development Code, or would it be injurious or otherwise detrimental to the neighborhood or public welfare? Staff finds that it's not in harmony with the purpose and intent of the Land Development Code, but there is no evidence that it would be injurious to the neighborhood or detrimental to the public welfare. That concludes the staff report. I'll be glad to take any questions that you have. Okay. I believe it was slide number 13. Is that the graphic? Yeah, slide number 13.
Ariana, can you zoom in? It's hard to see. There you go.
This slide depicts the walkway that's in the front yard area, and again, it's only the part west of the front property line, not the area that's in the right of way, but the walkway is, I would say, just over 5 feet at its narrowest and about 9.5 or 9 feet 5 inches at the widest part. So the proposal in your, from the variance is for exactly as it's shown here. And this would, if it was approved, this would be the graphic that's in the resolution approving it. That's all I have.
Town council may ask Mr. Quigley if he has any questions, and Mr. Ezra will have the opportunity to cross-examine.
Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Ms. Starkey, Councilmember Starkey.
Yes, this is an after-the-fact variance that's being requested, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, were there any objections from any of the surrounding neighbors, or is there any support from any of the surrounding neighbors regarding that proposed sidewalk that's existing, that's in the circle?
I'm not aware of any objections from any parties. There is one neighbor that provided a letter of no objection.
Okay. Carol?
Anybody? Yes, I'm sorry. Ms. Whitman?
So is there a hardship?
Staff did not find a hardship in this case that's related to the lot or the buildings.
Okay, so the entrance, if this wasn't there, would be where it comes up the driveway and comes into the front of the house there?
I'm not sure how to answer. Let me try this. See, so the lot has a certain amount of frontage on 148th Avenue. There is a driveway on the north side, and the construction that's been done, and this is subject to the variance, it creates a walkway from the front door of the house to the front property line.
Down to where the posts are sticking up?
Those columns, yes.
Okay.
The columns actually are not part of this variance, but it's just the walkway part of it. Again, it varies in width from about 5.5 feet to about 9.5 feet, roughly.
Okay.
Ms. Starkey?
The backup also says that they believe there is a hardship because of a medical condition of the grandchild. So would that be considered under our code sufficient for hardship?
The town's variance criteria don't leave an opening for that. It's about the parcel and the buildings, if there's any hardship related to those two items. It's a relatively narrow scope.
Anything else?
No, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Anybody else? Mr. Lewis?
A quick question, just to make sure I'm clear in my head, Mr. Quigley. The walkway is 9 foot 5 inches, and at code it would be 5 or 4.5?
Well, the front yard is required for the full width of the lot, but there are certain exceptions. Certain structures can be in the front yard, including walkways up to 4 feet wide.
Up to 4 feet?
So again, the only aspect that requires a variance is the portions of the walkway that exceed 4 feet in width.
And these two?
But 4 foot would be fine, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's-
I'd like to hear from the applicant,
They're next.
if
They
we
get
can at
25
this
minutes.
time.
They get 25 minutes
Yeah.
after they're done.
Yes,
When
yes.
we're
The
ready.
applicant will be next. Did you want to cross-examine? Okay. So, Councilman Starkey, the applicant's attorney will have the opportunity to cross-examine. Afterward, he'll be able to present this case.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, council members. Thank you for having me. The only questions I have for you, Mr. Quigley, are when you say staff did not find hardship, are you the one testifying? I'm just trying to understand who made the determination so I can at least kind of assess what that was based on.
Well, the planner that was assigned to this was David Abramson, and I reviewed the staff reports before they go to public hearing. And, it's our really joint assessment.
Okay, well, the reason I ask is, I mean, based off the rules, I believe Mr., forgive me, Weinthal stated, I would contend that's hearsay. So I want to make sure I have the ability to speak with and cross-examine the person who's made that determination.
Okay.
So he's not here?
Okay, Mr. Abramson's here.
Mr. Abramson's here. So if you're done with Mr. Quigley, you.
Well, no, then I'll continue with Mr. Quigley. I just want to make sure I understood. And then in terms of the applicable code, so I think that was a fair question you asked about the minimum requirement, because as you and I have discussed, there seems to be varying interpretations of the code. And my understanding is, and I'll get to this in my presentation, but as part of the plan review, forgive me, part of the plan review on, looks like 11/28/23, your comment in reviewing was that the existing walkway is wider than 5 feet in certain areas. And engineering, Abadimi Ajayi, said the walkway cannot exceed 5 feet. So, obviously we'll go into our reasons why and our evidence why we believe that there is a hardship and why we satisfy the variance criteria. But I'd like to just point out also for the record that even the town's own staff seems to be in dispute about whether it's a 4 feet or a 5 feet width. So is there a reasoning why the comment that was made about that it exceeds 5 feet in areas is different than what the position is tonight, that it's only a maximum of 4 feet?
I can't speak to that. The David in the permit comments is David Abramson, I believe. Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if this was part of just the overall planning viewpoint.
No, I can't speak to those comments.
Okay, all right. Thank you, that's all I have.
You could stay up because you're next.
Are we ready?
We are ready. Ariana, please reset the clock. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Israel, all your documents digitally, Ariana has, so whichever ones you want to go first. Ariana, if you want to give them the clicker, or if you want Ariana to do it for you, whatever is easiest for you.
I'll take the clicker.
Okay.
Thank
The
you.
applicant has 25 minutes, and the questions and answers do not count against the 25 minutes. Would you state your name again? I couldn't hear it
Yes,
when
of
you
course.
came up before.
Jordan Isrow. I have a
you.
last name that no one hears.
Oh,
It's
that's easy now. Thank you.
ISROW. Everyone hears the country, but you can just call me Jordan. The PowerPoint, please.
Mr. Israel, are you okay with that being applicant exhibit 1?
Yes, please.
And I have no objection, so town clerk, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So as we've discussed, we're here on a variance application. And, just by way of background, I think it's important to understand why we're here. And Madam Councilmember, I think you asked a very good question of, what is hardship in the context of this kind of decision? And I understand Mr. Quigley's point that it's about the property or the building, but technically the building is exactly what we're here to discuss tonight. As you stated and you looked in the background, there unfortunately were some medical emergencies with the applicant's granddaughter. She suffered from febrile seizures on multiple occasions. On 2 of those such occasions, they were required to call 911. Ambulances came, and as you'll see, if you, I think you're stuck on that, there you go. Okay, so as a result of the configuration of the property, you correctly noted that the only access point is actually through the driveway that goes to the side of the house. The front of the house has no walkway, or had no walkway. Now, the actual construction, if you see the video, the problem that occurred is that EMS tried to go up the driveway with a stretcher on wheels. The way this building is configured is that the carport actually blocks access to the front door. So you can imagine, in these types of emergency situations, seconds can mean the difference of everything. They struggled to actually get around here with 2 EMS members who were required to actually have one on each side and a stretcher. It created a very serious concern for not only just the applicant, but the family. This is someone who has their granddaughter at the house very often, and for that, what I'd like to do is take a pause and like to call Mr. Kozlowski, the applicant, as our witness. I don't know where if you'd like him to just stand up
He
here.
could just stand next to you,
Okay.
as long as you speak into the mic, sir.
There you go. We're going to share a microphone.
Hi, hello.
I don't know how to kind of talk. Unless you have a separate microphone.
Can you guys, thank you. Just give it,
That'd be helpful.
stop the clock, Ariana. Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
As much as I love him, I think it'd be better not
Yeah.
to. Thank you, sir. All right, I'm going to hold this. You stand there. So, Mr. Kozlowski, can you please just state your full name?
Speak into the mic, Mr. Israel. Speak
Can you
into the
please just state your full name and your address for the record?
Janusz Kozlowski, or J. Kozlowski, 1733 Southwest, 148 Avenue, Davie.
Okay, and can you tell us all just what's your profession?
I'm civil engineer. Also, I hold a degree in community planning.
Okay, and so as we've been discussing here tonight, can you please just give us a little bit of background from your own perspective of what occurred that kind of was the genesis of this walkway that you developed?
So, as you said, the main reason I actually decided to build that walkway was that my granddaughter had seizures for several times, and there was a problem with EMC going up to the door and taking her on the stretchers back to the ambulance. So this was the major reason I decided to do it.
Okay, and so as you're an engineer, and I'm sorry, I'm going to need to get the PowerPoint. All right, can you just walk us through the purpose behind the walkway and why you designed it the way you did?
So the walkway is the purpose I just explained, to make an easy or easier access to the front door, mostly for the use by EMC with the stretcher, and the 5 feet, it seems to be appropriate width of the walkway. 4 feet is too narrow to actually go with the stretcher and two members of the team going up the door. So 4 feet is too narrow.
And I understand that you based these design measurements off of certain guidelines, is that correct?
Yes, of course. There are guidelines available on everywhere. One of these American with Disabilities Act that says that 5 feet is optimal accessibility, provides optimal accessibility, and the Department of Transportation that says actually that 5 feet is the bare minimum for two persons to walk on the walkway. So.
And I know I understood that they said that it was at its widest point was about 9 feet 5 inches. So, and you're gonna have to forgive me, this doesn't go back up. Never mind.
Yeah, this was just how to say.
So you see, there's a portion of it that you pointed out.
There was a logical thing to fill up with the existing planters, not leaving anything, a small narrow piece of ground untreated, and it also serves as a turning point if there is a need to turn the stretcher or go other directions. So.
Okay, so it serves an actual practical purpose, which is why not the entire portion was 9 feet 5 inches, correct? Just enough.
No, just that part, because there were the planters over there were already existed.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, that issue, would you agree that the current situation of your house, the way the building is structured, that you and your wife, do you typically park your cars in the car park?
Yes, as you saw on the video, this is the place where we park our cars. Yes.
Okay, and you have your granddaughter at your house often?
Oh yeah, I mean my daughter with my granddaughter, she come pretty often, several times a year.
I'm sorry, I
I
couldn't hear.
couldn't hear the answer, yeah, either.
You have to speak into the microphone.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Yes, my daughter comes pretty often, several times a year to visit us.
So your granddaughter does not reside with you in the same house?
Pardon me?
She doesn't reside with you in the same house?
No, she comes
Visits.
to visits, yes.
Okay.
No, but God forbid something were to happen to either you or your wife, the premise still relies the same, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what I'd like to do next, and thank you, Mr. Kozlowski, that's, for now, I appreciate it. You can have a seat. Give this back, or I'll leave this here for now.
So, no more questions?
Well, not for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm destroying your guys' technology here, forgive me. So, as you can see, there is a hardship here. The hardship is about health and safety. And let's be honest, I'm not just a lawyer on my spare time, I'm also a vice mayor of the city of Parkland. And what I can tell you is that our job as council members is to ensure the health and safety of our residents. So when I first heard about this situation and the problem, of course it was concerning to me. And I understand every city has their desire to enforce their code, completely get it. That's your part of your job. But I also understand that there has to be exceptions that are made for the right reasons. And my sincere concern is that for staff to find that there's no hardship leads me to believe that they are not seeing the needs of the residents for what they really are. This is not about just having a walkway for the sake of having a walkway. There's a legitimate concern. Now, if there was any reason not to have a walkway, I'd be welcome to hear those thoughts from staff, other than just because the code said so, which, as I can show you, if we actually go to, if you can open up the plan review document, please. And I only open this to say that, we've had a lot of legal back and forth dialogue, myself and staff. And we've had reasonable disagreement, as lawyers tend to do, about the interpretation of the code. Now, if you look on actually line 2, planning David Abramson, he said on his comments that, please understand the existing walkway is wider than 5 feet in certain areas. Now, the contention of the staff here today is that it is limited to 4 feet. What I would say to you is that clearly this code needs some reworking, and that's a good thing. You want to make sure that the residents clearly understand what their rights and responsibilities are, and vice versa. The town wants to know that they can, readily defend and stand behind what it is they're asking the residents to abide by. If you go to line 3, row 3, you could see that engineering says the after-the-fact photograph shows that the walkway exceeds 5 feet. Now again, Councilmember Lewis, you asked whether it's 4 feet or 5 feet. It clearly is up for dispute. If it was 4 feet, I think it would have been pretty easy for the staff members to say it exceeds 4 feet. Now, when Mr. Kozlowski designed this, he understood it to be a minimum that was not required because he exceeded the actual frontage by more than the requirement in Code 12-81. And the exceptions in 12-88, he understood to only be if you did not meet the minimum requirements. But even beyond that, and when you also look down at the last row, Public Works, the comment was approved with the condition that the bridle path is maintained clear of any obstruction. So in fact, Public Works actually was in support of this. So, I looked at the extra agenda item tonight on your agenda. This thing's gonna give me nightmares.
You don't have to touch it.
Oh, God, it's gonna give me nightmares.
Please.
Thank you.
I looked at the agenda item, and it actually said at the bottom that staff recommends approval of this. So I was candidly shocked to hear that now staff has made these findings that they don't satisfy the criteria, despite the fact that the agenda item says recommending approval. So I'm not here to debate or, I think, again, we can go back to the code itself, but I think the evidence is sufficient that, and if you can please forgive me, go back to the PowerPoint. What I would hate to have happen here is for a town to make a decision based off of their interpretation of the code, and God forbid something were to happen. God forbid. EMS would not be able to access this house in a timely fashion. And for that to be a reason to deny someone a walkway that is otherwise aesthetically very pleasing, I don't think anyone can dispute that. There's nothing offensive about it. It doesn't injure the neighborhood. In fact, I think it actually probably adds to the property value, which is only good for the neighbors. And to the extent that there was a comment made that the neighbor provided a no objection letter, I don't know that that's fully, a fair and accurate representation. In fact, the neighbor gave more of a letter of support, right? Get it, it's called a no objection, saying you personally have no issue with the construction of the walkway. This property is well maintained, the home's in impeccable condition. The walkway will improve in access to my neighbor's house, as well as improve overall appearance, benefiting the whole neighborhood. Given the size of the property in the front yard, and the fact the project's already finished, requiring changing the width of the walkway to comply with the Town of Davie ordinance by making it narrower will create an unnecessary hardship and serve no purpose whatsoever. So, if we look at the actual criteria for variance, You go back here, no special circumstances or conditions. Again, it's to the land or the building, not land and the building. We contend that the building itself, the structure and the way it's laid out, does provide a hardship. The carport is where it is. To ask them not to park their cars there then creates a hardship for a resident who can't park their cars where they're technically supposed to go. And to, again, whatever the belief or feeling is about the width of the walkway, no one can deny that health and safety should be a paramount importance of any consideration by a council. You go next to whether the granting of the variance is necessary for the reasonable use of the land or the building, and it's the minimum variance. Now again, as we said, this is for the reasonable use of a land or building. Health and safety is the ultimate use, right? We live there. That's where your family lives. If anything is more important than that, I can't really tell you what that is. I think that has to be the first consideration. And whether or not it's the minimum variance, as Mr. Kozlowski said, he's an engineer. He based this off of ADA guidelines because the width of the walkway, they say, is a minimum of 5 feet to have 2 individuals be able to walk on it, which usually a stretcher requires 2 people, 1 on each side, to move it up and down. And the 9 feet 5 inches is to have a turning access point. Without that, if someone were to try to go up with a stretcher and they needed to turn around, they would be going into the grass. It's the only way they can actually get to one point, do a full 360 or 180, and be able to move in any direction they need to. So there's real rational thought behind this. This isn't just for the sake of doing it. And for that reason, we'd respectfully ask that this variance be approved. To the extent that there's any questions or any concerns, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, before we start, Mr. I didn't want to interrupt while you were speaking, but the document titled Plan Review Comments, you had brought that up. That would be applicant exhibit number 2. I just want to make sure.
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
So town clerk, please mark that. It's titled in the documents, Plan Review Comments will be applicant exhibit number 2. Thank you. I just didn't want to interrupt you while you were speaking.
No, thank you.
Any questions?
How long has the resident lived in the house?
Leona, could you give him the microphone so that everyone could hear? Because it's a court reporter. I'm not sure if you could pick that up.
Since 2002.
Okay, and you said the granddaughter lives with you, or?
No, she's visiting
And how often does she visit?
several times a year.
Okay.
It's
So
about,
it's several times a year?
sorry?
Several times a year?
Several, it might be 3 or 5.
Okay,
It's depends.
okay.
Yes, you indicated that, Mr. Israel, that the staff had found that the applicant, they were approving. In my understanding of what we do and our procedures and staff, the recommendations are that staff finds the applicant complete and suitable for further review, period. It's never been my knowledge that our staff has recommended approval or denial ever, and if you could please let me know where you saw that.
I'd be more
I'd
than
like
happy
to know that, because I'm looking here at all the backup, which I've read, and I know historically we've never had staff, and it's our procedure that we do not do that.
I would be more than happy to, madam.
Okay, and
How
then,
would you
in the
like me to-
meantime, I'm also, while you're looking at that, asking Mr. Quigley, are you aware of anybody in staff recommending approval?
This is Dave Quigley. Actually, on what we call the town council agenda report, the TCAR, the system has a box that has various actions for council, and that approve item is auto-checked. And I normally uncheck them, but apparently missed it this time.
And he
Okay.
showed, but he did show something on the screen that showed approved with, approved in order. There was some, came after it that said something needed to be done. They'd approve it, but you had to do something.
Right.
Oh,
Well, I
but
think
you
we're
showed
talking
on
about
the
2
screen.
different things, though.
Okay,
So what I believe you're speaking about is the agenda backup.
Right.
And I don't know how to show it.
don't touch it. I'm gonna
Way
come
from
down
the-
there.
The problem is I can't,
I know you, so I can say that.
it's easier to kind of just move away. Yeah, it is on the agenda item, so I mean, they could take judicial notice. I don't know how you would like to do it.
We'll take judicial notice. It's on the TCAR. If you scroll down to the TCAR, Between fiscal impact and strategic goals that this item supports, it says recommendation, motion to approve. Mr. Quigley did state that it's a check the box, and he neglected to uncheck the box. We could take judicial notice.
Yeah, and forgive me, I want to be clear. I'm not saying means you have to approve it. I was just saying that I was confused because that's what I read, so it kind of conflicted with what I was hearing tonight.
So then you'll agree that it's irrelevant at this time?
Yeah, it was
Okay,
more of
thank
the
you.
basis for my cross-examination.
Okay, thank you.
Ms.
Irrelevant,
Driscoll?
so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Susan, go ahead.
The other thing I have, in our backup, it says that the sidewalk, and I'm referring to the document that you gave us, and I guess I'm kind of confused because it says that it's 9.9 feet by 5 feet, yet the sidewalk is, I guess 5 feet, but then you have like a dirt or stoned area that's even bigger on both sides.
Hold on, let me make sure I'm looking at the same thing as you.
Right, go back to the picture, you can see it, but that,
It's showing, so the 9 feet 5
Right.
is actually the turning point. That's the widest part. The rest of the walkway, if you look at the bottom, the walkway is 5 feet.
okay. The other thing I want to say is, you're an engineer, Mr. Kozlowski, and with that, you know that you'd need a permit. And so I'm curious as to why you never came to the town when you wanted to improve your property for a permit.
The reason was that I did not consider this as a project that requires any permit, any approval, any control from the town, because it is just a how to say, groundwork. It's a landscaping, it's not a structure, it's not something that will endanger anybody, it will not fall on anybody, it will not cause any damage. So it's just a how to say, I'm sorry for my language because
It's okay, I understand you.
And accent. It's just a bunch of flat stones just laid down on the ground. So I didn't consider this to necessary to apply for permit.
Yeah, and the other thing, you had stated that your granddaughter comes just a few times a year.
Several times.
Yeah, you said
But
seven.
it doesn't matter
Well,
how many
for whatever
times
time,
a
I'm
year
gonna- yeah.
she comes.
Right.
Because the seizure
I hope she comes more.
may happen.
We're blessed.
When she comes only twice or when she comes 10 times, it doesn't matter.
Right, and you're blessed if they come more. I get that too, because I
Of
have
course.
grandchildren myself. My question is, why couldn't you fashion the cars that are, when I saw the video, it kind of, move the car around so you would have access and clear passage
I'm sorry.
under the carport at that time.
Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, please answer.
The first time it happened, we didn't even think there is a problem. Okay, and the same thing the next time it happened, because when your granddaughter has a seizure, you don't think about the other things, just about your daughter, about what to do with her or how to help her or whatever to do. Nobody at that moment thinks, oh, my car is parked in the wrong place. So this is just as simple as that.
Yeah, and I want to add that you have a beautiful home.
Yes.
Oh, thank
And
you.
that's not questionable, and I could see that you take care of it.
Thank you.
But, we do have a code for a reason, and we do have rules and regulations for a reason, and those are the things that, kind of trouble us when they're
Yes,
not followed.
but,
So I'm
but-
gonna reserve questions after my colleagues, if anybody else.
Did I see a two-car garage?
Yes, but...
But you don't use it?
No, we don't use it. It is actually
Maybe you would be-
common in the area.
Sorry?
It is common in the area not to use the garage for parking.
What else?
And to be honest, that garage is too small for even entrance is too small even for one car.
Oh,
So,
okay. No, I was just curious. Thought I saw a two-car garage there. I was thinking, kind of be a solution, use your garage,
but it actually is too small to be used as a garage.
You do? Michelle, I'm sorry, Ms.
Can,
Whitman.
can we go back to the video? Please?
That one?
No, the one where we're coming up the driveway. So there's one parking spot where the white truck is, or there's two right there? That's outside of the garage? So there's two spots right there by where the white truck is, and then one by that, and then two in the
Carport.
the carport.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you have an enclosure of two-car garage, correct? So you've been there 23 years? And you just chose to put this in last year?
No,
I mean, how long has this been in? This, not that, the front with what you're talking about with the walkway? It was just put
3
in?
years.
It's been in for 3 years?
Yes.
Okay. I know you're talking about health and safety of the child. What about the safety of 148th? If you've got the roadway blocked because of, if you put the sidewalk in, you're gonna start showing where people, when they come to do deliveries or Ubering or whatever, they're gonna think that you have to park there to block
That's not a
148
question.
to come up into your
No, that's not
walkway,
a question.
correct?
Well, I mean, I can ask the applicant, have you had any issues or anyone blocking the street in front of your house?
No, I don't see any. I'm sorry, I don't see relevance for this question.
So where do they go? They go in your driveway to drop off packages or
They
deliveries?
they used to actually the delivery trucks were used to drive up the driveway, and since the construction of the driveway is as it is, they have problem with backing up. There is no U-turn, so they had to back up to the street. That caused, of course, problems. They destroyed my landscaping several times.
Okay,
And the other options for them was to park at the front of the house, jump over the tree and the swell with the water to get into the front door.
okay, and 148th is just one east and west lane?
North.
There is no big traffic on that, only local, only residents use.
Well, what I'm getting at is if you have a fire truck or a rescue and they're parked there, now you have one lane of traffic.
There is no traffic over there.
If I could
Totally no
If I could
traffic.
interject, please, I'm sorry. Councilmember Whitman, I understand where you're going with that. What I'm gathering is that's more for deliberations. Right now, just questions for the applicant. I do understand what you're asking, what you're saying, but I think that's more of during deliberations for town council. Right now, just questions to the applicant.
Okay.
Let me say.
Mr. Israel, I have a question. I'm sorry. Is anyone in the house have medical issues?
Well,
No,
Sorry,
I can't answer that.
oh,
That's his house.
well, you're quoting there may be a need for the ambulance to come in another
Well-
time, and I'm just saying, is there anybody else besides the grandchild that has medical
If
issues that we're
I
worried
could
about?
interject, I'm sorry, but.
Is that HIPAA?
No, if I can, I'm sorry. So, Mr. Israel is not to testify, he's just representing the
No, I meant
applicant,
Ms.
so all questions have to go to the applicant, I'm sorry.
Mr. Kozlowski, did I say that right? I hope I did. Sorry.
yes, okay.
Anyone else in your family that's having medical issues that you are worried about besides your grandchild?
I'm sorry, I don't see the relevance of the question, but I can
Oh, no,
answer.
that's fine.
I can answer it.
In general, in a general area, I don't wanna know.
I'm 69 years old, and the medical emergency may happen, and my wife is also can happen with me or
that's what
my
I wanted,
wife
in a general area, that's all.
anytime. So if I have a medical condition right now, may not, but I may have it
True,
in 1
absolutely.
week.
You're younger than me, thank you. I appreciate that, thank you.
Vice Mayor,
Vice Mayor, I'm sorry.
I could-
Thank you. Councilmember Whitman, I'm sorry.
Oh, Marlon wanted to
I
talk.
think Councilmember Lewis has some
You
questions.
have,
Yes, yes.
Councilmember Lewis, my buddy.
Could we go back to the, a picture that shows from the 148th looking into the house? So, so I see steps here, 3 steps. So you're telling me this was designed for the paramedics to have quick access, but you designed this with steps?
Yeah, but steps don't make any problem for the stretcher. They designed
Speak
to,
up.
the stretchers are designed to go up the stairs and down the stairs.
It just seemed to me, if you were designing this
You know,
for a gurney, it would be,
this was
it
the
would be
major.
straight. This is, this is stepped.
This was the major reason, but it doesn't mean that I have to build something that will look ugly.
That's fine. I'm just curious.
Those, in my opinion, those steps makes the walkway look more interesting, better, nicer. And it doesn't make any difference for the stretcher to go small steps.
So when a paramedic goes up that path, up the steps and up the steps, around that hedge, they have to go around the left and then go around that
And
railing there?
unfortunately, yes. They have to go around to the left and to
We
the
have
right.
to go up the steps.
So, see the things that, what do you call those?
So you're still having to go around an obstacle.
Yes, of course.
So
But
whether,
at least one obstacle is removed.
so whether it's an obstacle around the car or an obstacle around that, I don't know what that
I
thing
don't
is
know what they
called
call it.
right there past the
Can
steps.
you answer?
Yeah, so they're not, it's apples to oranges, and I'll tell you why. There's a difference between having to go around, where they can actually just go up the stairs and go around, whereas the car was actually blocking access. They couldn't fit 2 EMS members and the stretcher.
But that's still blocking a straight on to go right into the door.
All they have to do is just go.
You're still
around.
going around. Well, if you, on the picture that you showed, you could go around the outside of the car too.
No, and that's the thing. The width of that passage is not enough here. I don't know how to.
Or your sidewalk.
And while they're doing this, I just want to make sure it's clear. The reason this happened is because of his granddaughter. It's spurred in the understanding of that in a medical emergency. So it seems like the council's focused on just whether the granddaughter is there or not, right? There's clearly a need for access for, in the case of EMS. I don't know that the decision has to be made of whether or not the granddaughter is there or not. That's what concerns me. If you look, to have a stretcher with 2 people, there's nowhere feasible for them to fit through. I think all of you would want the same. I think if any family member ever went through a medical emergency where you called 911 and you had a family member who was in there, you're not, number one, you're not thinking, let me go move my car.
No, but you can open the garage door.
You're sitting there tending to your kid or whoever is in a seizure. Number 2 is, if it's just you and someone else, it may just be you who's having the medical emergency. You can't go and move a car, okay? So I get your question. Your questions are not illogical, but I don't want you to lose focus of what the real issue is here. To sit here and talk about whether or not it can have to go up the stairs or not, this was a serious issue. It came from a real reason. And I could understand you guys could say it could have been designed differently, but this is it. If you're saying that you want to see something different, I'd love to hear it, but I don't want to just be dismissive of the fact of a real medical concern, because that to me is, I don't know the right approach, but obviously you're going to make a decision. I just would prefer that you focus on the fact that there's a real need for this. Whether his granddaughter's there 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, he lives in a house as does his wife. If one day, God forbid, he has a seizure, he's going to need someone to be able to access his home. And you know, the concern about traffic on an urban area, in a residential area, candidly should not outweigh a justification or a basis as to why to put that over someone's life, candidly.
But anyway, the fire truck would not go up the driveway. There's no reason. If there is a walkway or there is no walkway, the fire truck will stay on the 148th Avenue and not going up the pretty narrow driveway.
Mr. Koslowski, your garage, does it have an entrance into the house? I'm over here. Does the garage have an entrance into the house?
Yes.
So Could you not open the garage door and let the paramedics in with their gurney?
Ma'am, if he's the one having the emergency, how would he do that?
I'm sorry.
Then they'd find a way in.
I'm
Believe me,
sorry,
our
I don't
paramedics are very
understand.
good.
I don't understand what are you
You'd still have to
getting at.
open the front door.
Yeah, somebody have to
So
open
it's
the
still an
door.
entrance that you gotta, it's not gonna be just wide open, correct?
No, in a medical emergency, if they can't gain access, they're going to break down a door.
Exactly, whether it's through the garage or whether it's through the front door,
Okay, well, then let
right?
me ask, Mr. Kozlowski, do you store things in your garage?
Yes, of course.
Which I imagine like
Yes,
everyone
I
does.
store things in the garage.
Which is why you don't park your cars in the garage?
Actually, the reason why I'm not parking in the garage is I said before, the garage is too small for the cars. It was designed for the pretty small car, not the size we have. So I don't understand absolutely that, what concerns you may have. And I would like to stress one thing, that the town allow variance. That means that the town allowed some variation or how to say?
He's saying that the code provides for variances for these types of reasons, to allow for situations where not everything is going to fit, in the exact same model of what the code requires, and that's what we're asking for. We're asking the town to recognize that there's a need here. If there's concerns or conditions that you'd like to impose, I can understand, but that's what we're seeking.
And
This could all have been done, though, if had gotten a permit, correct?
Of course,
No, even with a
I'm just
permit,
asking, no?
it still would have, from the town's perspective,
No?
it still would have required a variance.
Mr. Attorney, am I wrong?
Yes, so the permit is not an issue because the first step is the variance. Without the variance, he cannot apply for a permit.
After the fact.
Correct.
No,
No,
or
I'm just
regardless,
asking.
even if he applied before, he still
know.
would need a
No, that's-
variance.
I will clarify.
Thank you.
The permit is not an issue. First, if he needs the variance to apply for the permit, in this case, it would be an after-the-fact permit. That is correct. Without the variance, he cannot apply for the permit because the code does not allow what he has done.
And he would have to remove it? I'm just trying to
That
ask what
that
would be
depends
the,
on what you all decide tonight. If you deny the variance, he'd have to come back to code, which, as presented right now, it is not code.
thank you. We done with the,
So, again, I ask for you guys to remember why we become council members. We do it for the health and safety of our residents. We do it for the reason of protecting them, making sure that they're safe, and for that reason, we'd ask that you grant the variance. Thank you.
So now, you can open
that
up to any
25?
members of the public that
Yeah.
wish to speak. So if any members of the public wish to speak for or against this item, please step forward now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
fill out the speaker sheet.
I do not see any members of the public wishing to speak for or against this item. Vice Mayor, you can now turn it back over to town staff to make any closing comments.
Yes. I'd like to ask the staff to make their closing comment. 10 minutes?
Thank you,
10
David
minutes?
Quigley. I have no other
You
comments.
have a what?
I have
Sorry,
one
sorry,
more
excuse me.
question.
I'm
I've been
sorry.
trying to find it again, but what did the planning and zoning, how did that vote? I was looking for it, David, and I couldn't find it in my backup. I've just gone on if you recall.
The Planning and Zoning Board, motion to deny.
And what was that date?
Why?
Do you want me to go through each individual? Yes
Yeah,
or
I want
no?
to know why.
Let's do the each individual. Let's do the each
It
individual.
was on
Okay.
September, I think it says September 10th?
November 12th.
Okay, November 12th, let me find that.
So motion by Lee, seconded by Mr. Evans to deny. Bastos, yes. Crowley, yes. Dixon, no. DeArmas, yes. Donzella, yes. Evans, yes. Lee, yes.
So it was a yes.
Yes to deny.
To deny.
A motion to
Oh,
deny.
yes to deny. I'm
Yes
sorry,
to
I didn't know.
deny.
I got to, thank you. Any other questions by we move on?
Councilmember Sargent, if there's no more questions, maybe Mr. Quigley continue with his closing comments.
Yes, you have 10 minutes, Mr. Quigley,
So was it a 5-2 vote?
to deny.
6-1?
It was 6-1.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have no further comments.
No comments, Mr. Quick? Is that what you said?
I have no further
Okay,
comments.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, the applicant now has 10 minutes to make his final comments.
You know, at P&Z, there was a lot of discussion about drainage, about the bridle path, and candidly, the discussion really was not focused on the right criteria. And that's just a reality. The decisions were made on things that were beyond the scope of what the P&Z purview was. Now, they're still going to make their vote, but it's important to point that out because even the town attorney had to call it out on the record that these are not matters that are supposed to be taken into consideration. So, you know, to the extent that the council wants to rely on the P&Z's recommendation, I would say, you know, please make your own decision because, you know, the record will reflect that there were decisions based off of things that they should not have based it on. So, you know, here are the decisions based about substantial competent evidence. Substantial competent evidence that's been shown here tonight is that, number one, the way the layout of this building as designed and the testimony of the applicant is that the way that they park their cars, as you've seen, there's 3 cars there, that let's say they have guests over. Let's say they have 4 cars there, right? Whether you think they could park on those other spots or not, the point is there's a lot of scenarios that anyone here within a reasonable mind could configure that when an emergency occurs, that there should not be a second guessing of, well, but we don't want this walkway to be wider than 4 feet. If I could understand, if he put a fountain in the middle of his yard and he put some big statue, I could understand you guys saying, you know what, we have a code for a reason. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about a walkway in front of someone's home. I would ask that you guys just realize that there are decisions that are going to be made by a council to uphold the code and to enforce it and to say, we're not here to be willing to make a variance. Those are situations that you have every prerogative to do. But you make those decisions when you're doing it for reasons that are not justified. We submit that this is a justifiable reason to have a walkway, which is already provided for in the code. The walkway is already allowed. We're not saying we want a walkway when no walkways are allowed. We're simply saying we want 1 extra foot wider. And the portion that is 9 feet 5 inches, I will agree, it's 4 feet 5 inches wider than what the town interpretation of the code says, despite the fact that, as you saw in the review comments, even they seem to be in dispute of whether it's 4 feet or 5 feet. We're not talking about whether to allow a walkway or not. We're simply asking about whether or not it can be wider than what the town contends is the maximum width allowed in the front yard. So again, I ask you, this is not something that is going to be detrimental to the neighborhood, to the community, but it could be detrimental to the life, health, safety of this resident. And so for that, again, I ask you to please grant the variance and allow him, to the extent just to move forward with the permit application. The permit still hasn't even been granted. If it goes through permit review and there's requirements, whether it's drainage or other things that the staff determines to be needed, that's up to the applicant to comply with. And he's willing to do so. That's why he's here. He wants to understand that if there's anything else that the staff says needs to be changed or adjusted other than the width, he's willing to make those changes. We're just simply asking for it to be wider than what the town's 4 feet requirement says. Thank you.
All right. Council members, if you would like to make a comment, please ensure that your microphone is on and articulate why you are voting for or against an item. If you are making a motion, properly articulate it.
Vice Mayor, before you begin, would you like for me to read it into the record, the review for variances, what your deliberation should focus on? Because I know there's been a lot of back and forth. I want to make sure that the board focuses on the right.
If you think it'd be helpful, yes.
I do, but it's your
That's fine.
prerogative.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm looking at section 12-309, review for variances in the town code. So there's 3 requirements, A, B, and C. A, there are special circumstances or conditions applying to the land or building for which the variance is sought, which circumstances or conditions are peculiar to such land or building and do not apply generally to land or buildings in the same district, and that said circumstances or conditions are such that the strict application of the provisions of this chapter would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of such land or building for which the variance is sought, and that alleged hardship is not self-created by any person having an interest in the property. B, the granting of the variance is necessary for the reasonable use of the land or building, and that the variance is requested is the minimum variance that will accomplish this purpose. C, the granting that granting the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of this chapter and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. That's section 12-309 of our code. You guys may deliberate among yourselves.
Susan, want to start? I was going to say it's Marlon's district. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
we'd
you
like
let,
to
yeah,
hear
you
about
go.
your
I'll be the last one.
He wants
if you
to be
want,
the
yeah.
last.
First of all, I'm 69 years old too, and I don't foresee that there's going to be an emergency in my home. I would hope not, but on occasion there has been. And I didn't run out and widen my sidewalk, even if it was for my child or whatever. I know that our paramedics and our fire department will go beyond, above and beyond, to make sure that they reach the victim right away and provide emergency care. And I know we win awards, and I'm very proud of the way they have handled it. So that isn't the hardship. The daughter visiting, the granddaughter coming, I understand those conditions. And if it were I have 5 grandchildren, if it was any one of them that were in those circumstances, I would, and it was a concern of mine, I would have moved my cars, even if it was to the street while they're there. Or I would move it into a garage or into another, because you're concerned of the pathway. But I understand you're a very good grandfather, and you wanted to make it absolutely accessible. But I really see that it's more of an aesthetic thing, not an emergency thing. I don't buy in on the fact that it's an emergency. I do look at the backup that you did provide. I appreciate that stated that for ADA. And that's very good. I think that's something to consider as well. Maybe we need to look at that in the way we design our criterias going forward on a 5-foot on sidewalks that it might be applicable for in design. But, my concerns here is the after the fact. Whenever I see an after the fact, sometimes I get cranky. I'm sure if most people in Parkland were to see issues coming before them at their city council, and I know most of them up there that are commissioners or previous commissioners and mayors, that, they are not so forgiving. They're pretty strict, especially when it comes to certain criterias, and I know that. And we all struggle throughout the county, electeds, in trying to get everybody to adhere to the codes, and that's so important. I am sympathetic. It is there. It is existing. It has happened, and you have had an issue. But I look at the criteria, and I don't personally see a big deal in trying to now allow for this. I at first was concerned because it looked like it was 9 feet 5 inches, but that is like a grassy area or garden area that's on both sides of it. That was my concern when I saw it, and then seeing the video, I see differently. But I'm gonna honestly say that even still, no matter what, I would move those cars when your granddaughter, is there and trying to get that done. But I'm willing to consider this. I usually yield to the district council member, and I think that that's important. I do also recognize that the residents surrounding don't see any problems with it as well. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Ms. Whitman?
The issue that I've got is you've been there 23 years, and this was just done in the last 3 years. I'm sure your granddaughter had been visiting prior to that. The other issue...
I'm sorry, my daughter is 6 years.
Speak in the mic, please, Mr. Sorry.
Actually, so right
Over?
now,
No
the
questions?
public part is closed.
Oh, gotcha.
Vice Mayor, at your prerogative, you could reopen it, but right now, I'm sorry, sir, but it's closed.
Okay, my daughter is 6 years.
Sir, I'm sorry, it's closed.
Okay, the other issue I've got with being a civil engineer, if there had been an issue with speed on getting a stretcher up there, why would you have put 3 steps? I mean, if it was ground level, it would have been able to, I feel, move faster to get where you're needing to be. I don't see at this time where I could support this.
Was that, you could support it?
No, that I could not support it.
That's fine. Mr. Lewis, I want you to go back.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I kind of feel like in some ways the fire department's put on trial here, that that they can't get around and get in there. And here we have an award-winning fire department. If you look at these women and men, they're athletic and strong. They pick people up on horse trails. I see them come to my neighbors in the back where the horses are, and they get that thing back there and spin it around. And I've never yet heard one firefighter tell me, you all need to change your code because we can't get into a door. This is a first for me. I personally believe that as an engineer, you knew not to do this without a permit. If you had pulled a permit, there could have been something worked out. But you knew better, and you didn't do it. So now we're supposed to give this to you and give you what you wanted, but we could have come up with a compromise beforehand. So as it is now, I'm going to deny it because I feel you knew better than to do this without a permit. So I'm not going to support this. I'm going to deny this.
Okay, we all heard that. So I guess I'm the last one. I also join my fellow council members in being surprised that as an architect, engineer, whatever you have an experience in education and knowledge about what's going on, and you should have known to get a permit. It's, what would you tell someone else that was going to have it done? You need to get a permit. Would probably be the first thing you said, check with the town. And I think you could have avoided a lot of this aggravation if you had gotten a permit, and you should have known better. I'm sorry about your granddaughter. I'm sure you love her. I think you're a very caring grandfather and worrying about her. I've had occasion to use our EMS, and they've been amazing. They never had to break down my door. Thank goodness I was able to open the door. But I think there's other avenues that you can use at your home, especially to have your garage door go through your garage door, keep your garage clear, whatever. If that's the way you have to get in, move the cars when your granddaughter's there. I think there's other options you have. So I think it is very nice. It's very good looking. It's attractive, and your neighbors aren't complaining. So I think there might be something you could do, but I'm going to vote against this. Do we take a vote?
I'll make a motion to deny.
We need a second?
Second.
So I have a motion to deny and a second.
I want to clarify, since it's a
Go right
motion
ahead.
to deny, since a motion to deny, a yes vote denies the item.
Correct.
I want to clarify that, okay?
Thank you for clarifying that. Town Clerk, Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I believe we're on
So,
9, Mr.
yes, Vice Mayor, we are on ordinance number 9. Would you like for me to read the ordinance by
Yes, that's what I was
title?
just about to say. Yes,
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. Code Amendment. An ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, amending Chapter 15, Section 7, titled Specific Prohibitions, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Let's open it up for any members of the public wishing to speak for it, of course. I got it. Is there any members of the I got it. No worries, Vice Mayor. Any members of the public wishing to speak for or against this item, please step forward now. Seeing none, public hearing is closed, Vice Mayor. To discuss and vote. Well, wait, we need a motion.
That's what she's asked for.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I misunderstood you. I apologize. I apologize, I'm sorry.
Motion approved.
There's no motion made yet,
Oh,
so we
oh.
need a motion on, thank you.
So could someone make a motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve
Item number
item number
nine.
9.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. Weinthal, would you read the ordinance by title, please?
Yes, Mayor. Number 10, Code Amendment. In ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, amending Chapter 4, Article 4, Section 67, titled Owner's Duty When Dog Bites a Human or is Bitten by Another Animal, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak for or against this item? Please come forward now.
Seeing none. Is there any discussion?
Yes, discussion, then vote.
Discussion and vote. Any discussion, members of the council? No? Any discussion? No. Seeing none, I'd like a motion for approve and a second.
Motion to approve number 10 code amendment?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, I would ask the town clerk for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hatton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. Weinthal, would you please read the by title?
Yes, Vice Mayor. Item number 11, rate increase. In ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, providing for increases in the rates, fees, and charges for water and sewer services to be furnished by the town, providing for the establishment of such rates, fees, and charges, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak for or against this item? Please step forward now.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Town council, are there any discussions on this item? No? 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 Okay, can I have a motion and a second?
Motion approved.
Is that a motion to
11.
approve item number 11?
Yes.
Item number 11.
Code amendment.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you. I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry.
My eyes won't work. My eyes, voice, ears. Can town clerk please do a roll call vote?
Vice Mayor Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. Weinthal, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Yes, Vice Mayor. Item number 12, Code Amendment. In ordinance to the Town of Davie, Florida, amending the following sections of Chapter 12, Land Development Code. Article 12, Subdivisions, Site Plans, and Certificates of Use. Providing for severability, providing for conflict, providing for an effective date. Any members of the public wishing to speak for or against this item, please step forward now. Seeing none,
Close the public
public
hearing.
portion is now closed.
Yes.
Council, you may discuss among yourselves, and after discussion, you may entertain a motion, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Discussion, anyone? Any discussion, Mr.? No? No? Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion approved 12.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a clerk called vote.
Vice Mayor Hatton?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Table this. This closes the public hearing portion of the meeting. Correct, Mr. Weinthal?
Yes, Vice Mayor. Item number 13 was already tabled, so we are now on Section 8, report items.
Section 8?
Yes. Proclamations.
Oh, okay. I'm not in the right place. Tabling the following item. 13?
Item number 13 has been tabled, so
Oh, 14. I need some help. I'm sorry, really. Okay, we are here are the proclamations that were awarded this month. American Red Cross, March to 2025. Irish American Heritage Month, March to 2025. Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, March. Women's History Month, which we celebrated earlier. National Athletic Training Month, National Procurement Month, David and Kathy Husband Day, and Water Matters Day. Those were the proclamations that were given out this day. Okay. Okay, does anyone have any board or committee appointments?
I have some.
Mr. Councilmember
Yes,
Lewis?
I'd like to appoint Carl Mandola to the Veterans Advisory Committee.
Oh, that sounds good.
And I'd also like to appoint Michael Friend to the Public Art Advisory Committee. Do we need a vote for that?
I
or-
think we do. I'll ask
Or-
Madam Clerk.
No, you don't.
Okay, okay.
No?
Thank you.
No, okay.
No.
Old business, we have any old business? Mr. Weinthal, no? No, Mr.?
I'm not aware of any old
Okay,
business.
very good. And any new business?
There's an item that Mr. Abrahamson's supposed to, I guess, review, which is item number 23 about the historical Ray home.
Oh, okay,
If we,
thank you.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Abramson, I apologize. My,
Don't touch it.
there he is. Yeah.
Should've learned my
I'm
lesson
sorry,
right
would you
watching.
go ahead with your presentation?
Good evening, Council. David Abramson representing staff. The item before you is a board recommendation. Historic Preservation Board provided a recommendation to the council for the Ray House. It would be, if approved this evening, it would be brought back to the council in May during National Historic Preservation Month. Thank
Okay,
you.
sounds good.
I do need a vote.
Sorry?
Motion to approve?
There's a motion on a motion to approve. Is there a
We-
second?
We have, and a second, yes, so we need a vote.
It could be a voice vote.
Voice vote, we can voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against?
It
Hearing none,
passes.
motion passes. Okay, the schedule of the next meetings is the next thing that's on here.
There's no new business, right?
No,
Okay.
nobody came up with no new business. Okay, so town council meeting, so. Council member comments, shall we start with Ms. Councilmember Whitman?
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have 3 events on this Saturday, March 8th. It's the 23rd Annual Water Matters Day at Treetop Park, which is located at 3900 Southwest 100th Avenue in Davie. This is the county's signature water conservation event where residents can learn about all of the local and regional water resources. The theme this year is Planting for Our Future. The event will run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's also the Garden Matters Day at the Davie Community Garden located at 4005 South Hiatus Road, Davie. The topic is growing tomatoes.
Oh.
The event will run from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. For more information on the gardening workshop series, contact the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Art Department at 954-797-1159. The town of Davie is in partnership with Broward County Parks and will be hosting a bike rodeo event at Vista View Park located at 4001 Southwest 142nd Avenue in Davie, Shelter 2. This event includes bike safety education, music, children's activities, light refreshments, and giveaways. Our Davie PD will help kick off the event at 11 a.m. Please arrive early to enroll. Broward County Parks admission is $3 per vehicle. The bike rodeo event is a free event to participants. For more information, contact the Davie Parks Recreation Cultural Art Department. And in case you didn't get that number before, let me give it to you again. It's 954-797-1159. Here's a reminder, this Sunday is March 9th. It is daylight savings time. You will be springing forward. Tuesday, March 11th, is our Town of Davie goal-setting session at the multipurpose building, starting at 8 a.m. The Town of Davie will be partnering with the South Florida Education Center to host the Artificial Intelligence Vocational, Instructional, and Business Expo on Friday, March 14th at Broward College/FAU Davie Campus, located at 3501 Davie Road, Davie. Admission is free for all. Morning session, students only, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Broward College Bailey Hall Building 4. Afternoon session opens to the general public, starts at 12:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. The Florida Atlantic University Liberal Arts Building, number 49, 3200 College Avenue. Registration is required to attend. Visit the SFEC website for more information. Happy birthday to all our March babies. And now I have a sharing moment.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hatton, Councilmember Starkey, and I went to a groundbreaking event to Cuesta Reserve on February 25th. The MC of the event was Parnell Joyce, whom is the CEO for the Broward County Housing Authority. He thanked multiple individuals and companies, Town of Davie, for their support and participation on this project. He recognized and sincerely thanked Glenda Martinez for her contribution, leadership, and guidance on the project. He also recognized Kim Budd and Armonte Beaumont, sorry about that, not knowing their last names, and I don't have it word for word, but he shared with everyone not once but twice about how two individuals could make the process of providing a smile and statement of how could they help him. To Mr. Joyce, everything started with Kim and Armani. It set the tone for the process of the project. Mr. Joyce was wishing that more municipalities had employees like Glenda, Kim, and Armani, so a shout out of thank you to Glenda, Kim, and Armani. You make the town of Davie very proud, knowing we have individual representing Davie with such pride. Thank you. Back to you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Well, it certainly has been busy for a lot of us, and I know that we've attended several groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings and a lot of those things, which was a lot of fun. And I know that everybody was at the event for, what was it called? Blackjack's Rum and Grill and Restaurant on Davie Road. And, you know, it's a lot of fun, very nice. And I've been there a couple times, and the food is great. So I would suggest everybody get a chance to get down there and attend. I was not able to attend the big whiskey groundbreaking or ribbon cutting, but I have now been there twice since, and the food also is very good. So please patronize our Davie restaurants and keep them in business. That's what we want, and they're good. They're very good. I also attended the Everglades Foundation out at Bergeron Ranch off of 27. They're raising funds for the Everglades to purchase the mineral rights underneath the Everglades so they won't be drilling. And it was a very nice but small event of a few key people around the county as well as fundraiser individuals that helped raise these funds. It was very good. At that night, for last Friday night, I sat next to one of the Osceola family members, Curtis, and he also was one of our guest speakers for this as well. And he had let me know that Billy Cypress, who was the Miccosukee Indian for many years, the chief, and also on council for probably about 30 years, maybe over 26 years, had passed away. I had a very good experience with Billy Cypress in my younger days when we did Miami River restoration, and we had a barge going up the Miami River for all of us who participated in cleaning up the Miami River. And it was a good celebration, and Governor Graham was there at the time, so I'm giving my age again tonight. But he was also there. He was also one of the chiefs at the time. And his humor, I will always remember his humor. He was a very, very, jovial, fun man to be around from time to time. Got to know him that way. I also attended a couple of other events, actually. The Red Cross tour over in Deerfield Beach to their warehouse. I thank them profusely for all the efforts, whether it was just responding to one mobile home in the town of Davie and the individuals for a fire, or whether it was Hurricane Irma, which you all may recall, which Davie ended up having the last remaining shelter at our Part of Park PAL. They stayed in it till the end, and they did a stellar job. Whether it's big or small, they're always there. And we did a tour as well as presented them with the proclamation that was approved this evening. I got it in advance so I could give to them then. And they also complimented our police and fire and staff for all their efforts and help in the work. Also, I attended this morning, very early this morning at the Broward Convention Center, the Broward Workshop. The Broward Workshop had guest speakers chartering an AI frontier. There was over 1,000 people who attended that. And I want to thank Debbie Thomas with our department that was also there, as well as a number of elected officials and movers and shakers throughout Broward County that are making Davie, I mean, not just Davie, but Broward County, a place to come to. We also had Beam Fur, who the mayor of Broward County, give a state of the county. And we had the Florida Chamber of Commerce CEO come and speak about all the statistics on affordable housing and the people in migration coming in to the state of Florida, as well as some that are moving out. So giving also our grading scales on our elementary schools and our reading. And there was a lot of information that was shared, and I appreciate it. I learned a lot. And I'll be sharing a lot of that information and those slides that I took pictures of that I thought were very good. I'll be sharing those with staff. As you know, legislative session began. There's like 1,800 plus bills that have been filed, the big key ones that we'll be following with Leona and staff is already reviewing a lot of those bills. I encourage all of my electeds and staff to be involved in this process this year, because there's an overall attack again to the home rule, if you will, as well as a proposal for property tax. And if I may just speak to the residents on this for just 1 minute. There's a proposal to do away with property tax, and of course, everybody in the room would probably yell yippee, except for you have to realize that the funding's gonna have to come somewhere in order to fund the services that we provide to the residents of the town of Davie, including police and fire, and a lot of our public safety and health issues. Whether it's code enforcement, whether it's the clerk's office providing transparency and timing efforts to get the information out, it could affect our budgets in a very big way. So I encourage you to learn more about it. I think this is important. If it does get on as a ballot question, you need to study this pretty well. I can't tell you how to vote, but I can definitely provide you with the information that shows you how we spend our money and what those budgeted items are for, as well as our staff would do the same to educate you. And I wanted you to be aware of that. And I want to wish everybody who's Irish a happy St. Patrick's Day, and those of us who pretend to be more Irish on St. Patrick's Day as well. Enjoy your Monday, St. Patrick's Day. And to all my Catholic friends, I'm sorry, one more thing. Happy Lent as we kick off our Ash Wednesday today. It's a good celebration for us this month. This next 40 days as well.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Oh, excuse me. I had a really nice special day yesterday. As a councilman, I got to honor somebody that is really one of my heroes. We did a proclamation for Joe Hess. It was Joe Hess Day yesterday in the town of Davie. Joe Hess started in 1975 as the physical trainer, tactic trainer at the Broward Police Academy, and he stayed there and retired after 35 years of being there teaching police officers. I know Rick Lamack trained under Joe Hess, and just a wonderful person and a great luncheon to honor a man that I just think so much of, and that was a great day for me. And on another note, I accidentally discovered something, a new restaurant in Davie.
Which one?
A restaurant called Nando Grill, Carne en Vara.
Ooh.
And I have never been to Caracas, but I have eaten at Nando Grill, and it was like being, as I would imagine, in Caracas. The food is grilled, it's a truck, it's outdoor sitting. It's right next to Flamingo Gardens. They're at 3601 Southwest 121st Street. And I think they've been open only about 8 weeks now, but I went there with my wife. I've been there twice now. The food was sensational. The hospitality, and I don't speak Spanish, but everybody there that was Spanish was trying to speak English, and they were as hospitable and as friendly, and the food was sensational. So
Is that what carne mean?
meat,
Steak and
meat,
something?
yeah,
Steak and
carne is meat, yeah. But the food was awesome. It's cooked slow. The meat is just flavorful and tender, and I can't say enough good things about how clean and wonderful it was. So if you get a chance, try to support them as I try to support all the local businesses here in Davie. Thank you, Vice Mayor. That's all.
My turn. I don't have too much. I just want to piggyback on Councilmember Whitman's report on the groundbreaking that we attended, and she couldn't have been more on target. I mean, I was so excited. I wish I had a recorder, because this gentleman was just effervescent about the town of Davie, and when they walked in there, and how everybody took care of them, and they were so nice, and our municipality was wonderful. So I've already spread my awareness of it. I thanked Armani and Kim and town clerk, and told them all, and told Mr. Lemack and everybody that was in earshot of how wonderful they said they were treated, and it was really wonderful to hear. I know how wonderful our staff is, and anytime somebody comes up and just reminds us of the fact that they were treated so well and wished everybody would treat them that well, it makes me just feel wonderful. So I want to thank, I know this is probably late, but our Jeff, Mr. Pullman, I want to thank you and your staff for a wonderful Orange Blossom. It was great. Everything was terrific, went off like a charm. It was great. There was had great drivers. I appreciate that so much. Really terrific. So thank you very much. And I'd just like to, Mr. Lemack, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just have an update. I just want to inform Town Council that today Police Chief Steve Kinsey signed a memorandum of agreement, also known as a 287G program, with the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, agency to train and certify 2 Davie police officers to assist ICE should they have to conduct activity to arrest criminal aliens only in the town of Davie as required, as it requires a local law enforcement officer from the jurisdiction. This came from a very high-level alert from the Florida Police Chiefs Association and the General Counsel, who both highly recommend law enforcement agencies to sign on. At present, all 67 sheriffs in the state of Florida and numerous police chiefs have signed on to the MOA, and Davie is one of those now. So thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Moss? Nothing? Mr. Husty? Holsty?
He's good. He's good, Vice Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got to speak up. I'm going deaf. Among the other problems that I have. Mr. Weinthal?
I have nothing to add, Vice Mayor.
Nothing to add. Anybody? Anybody? Got everything? No? Okay. If there are no I got it. Jeez. If there are no objections, this meeting can be adjourned. Any objections? Guess not. Everybody's running. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.